a young man heard the Buddha deliver a discourse, and moved by it, decided to renounce the world. He soon became a monk, and in due course received the higher ordination under the Buddha. However, a problem soon started with regard to his health. Little pustules appeared all over the body, which grew larger day by day, until they burst and became open sores. Soon it was clear that there was no cure, and the monk gradually became very ill. Blood and pus oozed out, covering his entire body and the garments he wore. Soon, add to all this, his bones began to disintegrate, making him unable to move. So the bedridden monk soon found out that he was all by himself. He was cast aside, as someone who had no other choice but to meet his end, as none of the residents were able to care for him. The Buddha, meanwhile, surveying with his psychic vision as to who to help that day, saw the ill bedridden monk. The Buddha also realized that, despite the poor health, the monk was ripe for spiritual awakening. And soon, the Buddha was on his way. His first place of visit was the hall where the fire was kept in the monastery. There, he washed and cleaned the boiler, filled it with water, and put it on the brazier. Once the water was hot enough, the Buddha took the container, and went to where the cast-out monk was lying. Some of the monks in the vicinity, seeing the Buddha about to attend to the bedridden monk, offered to help carry him to the hall where the fire was kept, where it would be easier to tend to him. And so they carried the monk on his bed, and placed him in the hall. The Buddha then took the hot water, and got the monks to clean first the upper garment of the bedridden monk, dry it in the sun, and once it is dry enough, cover the body with the upper garment, and wash and dry the undergarment. And meanwhile, the Buddha himself got down to work, cleaning the body of the monk covered in open sores with warm water, rubbing away the dried blood with his own hands. And once the body of the ill monk was thus cleaned, and both the dried under and upper garments were set in place, the Buddha got him to lie down. The monk, now cleaned of his accumulated filth, felt at ease. And standing by his pillow, the Buddha informed the monk that his consciousness would soon depart the body, and proceeded to deliver a discourse. At the end of the discourse, the bedridden monk had attained to no less than full awakening. And he soon passed away. The Buddha then performed the funeral rites over the body, and departed. The congregation of monks, meanwhile, curious as to the place of rebirth of the deceased monk, inquired the Buddha about it. The Buddha answered that the monk had, but a moment before his death, attained to full awakening, and then, he had passed on to Nibbana. But, Reverend Sir, said the monks addressing the Buddha, what past action would have caused one such destined for full awakening, to be so sick in this life? And in reply, the Buddha mentioned the incident of a past life of the monk that caused him to have a severely diseased body on this life. During the dispensation of a previous Buddha, so it seems, the present monk was a fowler. He used to catch various birds in large numbers, and sell them for meat. However, to prevent the birds from flying away before he sold them, he broke the leg bones, and the wing bones of the birds, and kept them in a pile. And it was this cruel deed, the Buddha said, that came back to him in this life, causing him much grief, right up to his awakening.